Hi, welcome to DTI's Doula Confidential. Thanks so much for joining Georgia Mountain Birth. Hi, Molly. So today I'm going to talk about what it's like to be in the hospital overnight. This is something that when I started out as a doula, I just couldn't imagine. Oh, hi, Kisha. Thanks for the hearts. And I, packed all these things in my doula bag, and I was like, I'm ready for anything. And then I was in the hospital overnight for the first time, and it was like kind of nothing like I'd imagined. So I thought I would talk today about what I do when I'm in the hospital overnight. And that can kind of go three ways. One way is, we're up all night supporting someone who's laboring without pain medication. It can look like we're up a good portion of the night supporting with someone with an epidural, but then trying to rest when we can. Oh my God, I'm loving this like endless stream of hearts. And then it can also kind of look like, supporting someone who's laboring without pain relief, but being in a place where you really do need to like catch a little bit of rest here and there. But let's just lump it into, trying to stay awake in spite of everything and trying to get a little sleep in spite of everything. So I guess I'll start out with something really basic, which is what I wear to a birth. So I get really uncomfortable in a bra after a while. I think that's probably true with most people who have breasts. And I really realized early on that the right thing to do was just wear this like seamless bralette thing. It's from Forever 21. I think it was $5. It's not a good option for someone who needs a lot of support, but it's so comfortable. It doesn't have that kind of compression feeling of a sports bra, but it's not bulky under clothes either. And this just kind of like affords me the feeling of being covered up, but also not feeling constricted at all. So I think for those of us who are like rocking something under a C cup, this is a great choice. They sell them like at Target, anywhere. This is a game changer. I am so much more comfortable when I wear that. Kind of along those lines is making sure that whatever sort of sweater that you wear, like having an overlayer on top of your t-shirt, because it can get kind of cold in the hospital room. The hospital I work in the most kind of vacillates between really cold and really warm. So having a layer that I feel cozy in, but it isn't too heavy, is really nice. The other thing is when I am sleeping in the hospital, I'm generally like having those hospital blankets, which are not the snuggliest of things. I have a lot of clothes that I kind of wear, 90% of the time I'm wearing them at a birth. This is one of them. It's an oversized cardigan. It's from Old Navy. It's this very nice eggplant color. Goes with everything. What I like about it is that it's really soft. I wish you could feel it. Someone needs to make like tactile TV. Anyway, it's super soft and it was really inexpensive. Old Navy makes some great clothes at a good price. So when I wear it in the birth room, I don't worry about anything getting on it and or anything happening to it. It's a dark color so it doesn't stain. I leave my cashmere at home. One kind of last thing, this kind of is more for that staying up all night, especially case, compression socks. I don't know if any of you have tried these out before. I read about them in the context of using them on a plane. Basically, what they do is have kind of graduated constriction going up your calf, and so it encourages the blood flow to return back to your heart more easily. So, blood or also fluid isn't pooling in your legs so much, and they're really popular among people who work on their feet all day. These are from Express Spa in the airport. I'm sure you can find nicer ones. They're kind of hard to put on, but, they stretch up quite long, and they are really, really tight. Like, I'm pulling quite hard, and this is as far as I can stretch it. And, they make a surprising difference. I've really noticed that I have a lot more sort of spring in my step when I wear these. They're probably not good to wear lying down, so I would say like they're not easy to take on and off either. So they don't work super well with skinny jeans, but if you're rocking like, the flared yoga pant during your birth, they're a great choice. You may realize at this point that I really like clothes. So another thing is we all talk about the rebozo during birth. You can also use this in the context of getting snuggly in the hospital. I have this beautiful rebozo from Lohi Rebozos. It's super soft, made with bamboo, but it feels like silk. And this is nice to just wrap around yourself, like so. And then when you're, in your little bed, with whatever you're using, you at least feel pretty cozy and tucked in. You can also, of course, wrap it around a few times and have on the, Doula classic. There you go. I'll leave it on. It looks nice with the sweater. So, as far as trying to sleep, what do I sleep on? Glad you asked. This is a really, really, really amazing sleeping mattress. It's made by a company called Big Agnes. It, folds down to be this big. I'll put it next to my head for scale. This is not a large object, right? But it unfolds to be this, and inflates to be this really, 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 really comfy place to sleep. I mean, it's not like a bed, but I would actually venture to say that it is more comfortable than most of those fold-out chair beds in the hospital. And it takes a while to inflate, but it's definitely worth it. If there's, if I'm anticipating that I'm going to be able to get rest for more than half an hour, it's worth the effort and energy to blow it up. Hi, Caitlin! So, I was talking to Caitlin about this yesterday, actually. So yeah, this is what it looks like as it unfolds. I think one of the other things is, it definitely creates a little bit of a jovial atmosphere in the room when you, get out this thing that looks like a raft and start blowing it up. I think the hospital staff's like, oh wow, this person's so devoted, they're sleeping in here, I'm gonna go get them extra blankets. And it can be a little bit of a tight squeeze in some hospitals, but you can usually make it work. And what else is nice about this is because it's rigid, you can kind of just prop it up against the wall if you're not using it at that particular moment. But this is something that I use at most births that have an epidural that are happening overnight. It's that whole sort of idea, if mom's sleeping and you're tired, you should sleep. Oh, my dad's calling me. Not now, Dad. Okay. So that's kind of that sleepy stuff. One other thing that you can use to help with sleep is essential oils. DTI actually has a line called DTI Doula, and one of the products is a blend that's called Turn Off. You can spritz it on your pillow, you can spritz it on your rebozo, you can spritz it on your hands and do one of those. It contains a blend of oils that just has really strong associations with relaxing. It's very calming and kind of centering to use. That's really nice. You can even give some to whoever else is trying to take a nap. That's a good transition into the things to help you stay energized. DTI Doula also has a blend that's called Fierce Fuel, and that one is great for that, you joined the birth at 11 p.m., you woke up at 6 a.m. that day, and you've been awake for quite a while already, and you know that you're going to be awake all night. Taking some time to spend a little bit of energy thinking about, okay, what's going to get me through this next 8 hours, 12 hours, 20 hours is really useful. And sometimes it can just be something as simple as, grapefruit essential oil is going to make a big difference here. There's another DTI Doula blend that's called Boost Up, and that one's for immune boosting. I kind of like to alternate between the Fierce Fuel and the Boost Up because I kind of start to feel sick when I'm awake for a long time, and I think that your immune system is more susceptible when you're exhausted. I need a citation there, but that's my understanding. And so those smells can really help. Anything citrusy tends to be good. Another thing that's critical when you're staying up for a long time is getting some protein. So I always have a few snacks in my doula bag beyond what I pack the day of. And something that I have is this protein granola bar from this company called Cascadian Farms, which is actually a General Mills brand, which is not so great, but these are amazing. They kind of go down like a chewy bar, but they have a lot of protein in them. And they're not just that kind of chunk of paste the way that most protein bars are. So I really like that because it's not miserable to eat, but it actually makes me feel full, and I digest it pretty well too. Even if you're gonna take a nap, trying to eat something with protein ahead of time is really smart because you want to keep your blood sugar up. If you need that instant blood sugar kick, I think a lot of us carry hard candies or honey sticks for our clients, well, you know what? Who eats most of my honey sticks is me. Because it's like, you know, I'm not going to hassle the nurse to go get me a thing of juice, and juice is something that needs refrigeration, and so it's not really something I bring to a birth. Honey sticks, no fridge necessary, so I use those a lot. Of course, coffee. Caffeine in all forms is nice to have. I don't think I would go so far as to like take no dose or something, but black tea is nice, especially in a situation where I need a little bit of energy, but I don't know quite how long I'm going to be awake for and want to have the option to sleep in a few hours if I need to. If I know it's going to be a while, Starbucks has this instant coffee called Via. It's actually pretty good. Like, I mean, it's not like, you know, pour over coffee from a fancy place, but it's palatable. It's not too watery. It's certainly not gross. And yeah, I mean, I have this almost every time I'm staying overnight. And it's not just me who thinks it's good. Like, sometimes partners will have a cup with me and they're like, oh, wow, this is actually okay. So yeah, it just comes in these little single-serve packets. Definitely worth the very small investment of like $4 for 10 or whatever it is. Staying hydrated. We all encourage our clients to stay hydrated. I always like to say, if you can, have a sip of water after every single contraction. I try to make sure that I'm having water every 15 minutes or so. This particular water bottle is really great. It's called a Camelback Eddy, and what's nice about it is that the straw is actually a bite valve. So I can put it in my backpack and there's like nothing that's gonna make it leak. And when it's closed down, there's absolutely no way water can get out. So this is a fantastic, fantastic water bottle if you're a doula. It's also really affordable. It's about $13. I got mine on Amazon. And staying hydrated is huge, just for that general sense of wellness. And then, you know, I'm looking over at all these things that I set aside. This is perhaps not the most, like, glamorous part, but I always try to make sure that I pack extra underwear with me, but sometimes I forget. And so what I always have in my doula bag is a panty liner, because it's not quite the same thing as changing your underwear, but it's better than nothing. Always makes a brand... Always brand makes a panty liner that's like super, super thin. Like, this is how thick it is when it's folded in 3. And if you can actually see where, I think you can see with the light hitting it, maybe not. It's actually very flexible and it can fit in like any style of underwear too, like a thong, boy shorts, briefs, whatever. So that's really nice. It's very flexible. Overnight bloating. Oh, Kisha, thanks. Good question. So this came up in the DTI Doulas group a while ago. Someone was saying that she found she was really bloated overnight. And I was like, huh, interesting. And then I went to a birth later that week and I was like, oh, yeah, this is real. This is a thing. And I Googled it when I got home, and there's like this whole thread on a nurse forum about this phenomenon of getting really bloated overnight. I honestly haven't found a particularly good solution to help with that. I would say wearing a long shirt and pants you can unbutton is really smart. That's what I do. But I think things that are perhaps a little bit more proactive would be kind of things that you might normally do if you were bloated. So I know it feels really weird to have soda for most of us, but maybe having some Coca-Cola or ginger ale or even just sparkling water that'll cause you to burp a bit is a good idea. You can always let go, relieve yourself a little bit of that excess gas in the bathroom too, if you know you aren't already all in there. Or you can just wait till the person who's in labor makes a really loud sound and then try. But I don't know that there's anything that really cures that per se. But I think definitely like wearing, when you know that if you're like going to the birth at night already, wearing something that's either soft and stretchy like yoga pants or some sort of clothing where you can undo the waistband if you need to is really smart. And then being mindful about what you eat in that situation. So, you know, like I might not eat a protein bar that night. I might have like some string cheese instead, something that like I know I digest well. If there's anything that I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, sometimes this causes some bloating after, I avoid it. Caffeine can also sometimes cause bloating, I believe, but I think that's kind of a trade-off you're gonna have to make for yourself. Anyway, that's a great question. I love to hear tips from other people. Anyway, so that's kind of, those are my tricks for being in the hospital overnight. Um, and I would love to hear anything that you all do, something that maybe surprised you when you were starting out, something kind of unexpected that's worked really well for you. I know a lot of people also want to hear more about sleeping mats. Some people use a yoga mat. Some people just don't take anything, and then if there happens to be an available labor room and a kindly nurse, maybe like crashing there for a little bit. It just depends on you and the hospital you work in the most. Um, but I'd love to hear any thoughts, questions, comments about this topic. I'll be posting the link to the Periscope saved video so that people can watch it after on Facebook in the DTI Doulas group, so you can leave any comments or questions there. And then I'm also going to go ahead and upload it to YouTube so that we can watch it forever and not only in the next 24 hours. Alright, so that's all for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been lovely. I will be offline for a few days here, so I'll see you again next week. Oh, thanks for the love. Love to you too. Alright, bye!